Hey everybody, it's a Monday night. Sorry for the delay. Computer's acting up. I got a little girl's pushing the router button because hey, we got internet on her TV, right? So whoa, right? Shout out to my little girl. But thanks for coming. We got a special guest tonight. I got David, my co-host as always, and the guy on the bottom. If you don't know that face, I don't know who you are, where you've been, but yeah, this guy is a legend on YouTube, and I say it like that because he's been in my house for what six years or so. How long have you been on YouTube now,
I've
Aaron?
been on YouTube 4 years, and you and David were probably within the first couple hundred subs that I had on my channel, both of you, for sure.
I
I think
I
It was
remember.
David McNew first, and you were Bryant Culp always.
Yep.
Yeah, you
I
guys were minus 1,000. I was in minus 1,000, so I was like pre 1,000, and you guys were already. And it's so weird that now, like, I'm talking to you guys. It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Something that's fun for my house is like, yeah, I've been listening to you. I remember when you had just the video and you didn't have a face, and boom, then you changed your logo and your face was appearing, and you started doing more shows with other people. But yeah, and I couldn't always catch you live, because I think you were doing a lot of things on the weekends. But then I started catching you more and more, learning more about YouTube and the notifications. And I got a joke, and my daughter might get a little red if she hears this right now, but we'll be watching your show here. And again, no digs or anything like that, but you know how everybody's got kind of like a little bit of a nickname, and you're watching the Cosbys or something like that. You're watching, oh, hey, Pudding Cup Man's on again, right? Or your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or, you're watching, oh, Jazz, somebody's got a weird nickname for the guy, right? So nothing weird, but every time your video is on and she comes walking through, she's got her little strut. Oh, are you watching Ron again, Dad? And
Nice,
I just start laughing.
nice. That's great. I thought you were gonna call me something like the under faker. Like I'm not like I don't know, something
No,
weird.
but she will. She'll bellow it. Hey, Ron, and I'm like,
That's
and
great.
everybody's scared, right? And
That T-shirt is out there. One day I will buy it and I will wear it on stream. That's funny.
yeah. So shout out to Lily, and yeah, man, dude, thank you for starting what you did. You might not have been the first, but you've definitely been one of them, and it's really neat because I could name a handful of people off real quick, like Rombo and Nothing But Niners, and you're right there in the same midst of them. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with C.J. McCarver Jr., and
Mm-hmm.
he's a really cool guy. He goes to games. He doesn't do the same kind of stuff that you do, but sometimes he does some live streams. And you guys are like, I guess, again, you guys kind of started it out. So where people like me and David's gotten a little bit more comfortable getting on camera and talking, and all of us are a little bit older. We're a little bit before that, Y2K thing happened, where everybody, now has a computer or a laptop or a phone in their pocket. Me and you and David, I think we're all old enough to remember the brick cell phone that came in your car, and the
Yeah.
Or
portable phone, like that.
the
So
Motorola, the
yeah,
10-pound Motorola you could knock someone out with. Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
that thing was about this long. It had the antenna on the end of it. It literally looked like a house phone. It had that weird that triangular bottom. Yeah, I know exactly what you guys are talking about. That was ridiculous.
yeah. So with you, again, being just a little bit maybe closer to David's age, but neither one of you guys are that much further from me. But just again, like kind of pushing and being like one of those fort runners, one of those trailblazers. It's got people like me and David into the game. So this show is about getting to know a little bit more about the people in the community. Sometimes we can have really big famous superstars like you on, and sometimes we get people that you might never have heard of, or maybe you've seen in the chat. So shout out to the chat. We got a lot of good people here tonight. I'm going to run through it real quick. And, first off, if you guys didn't know, tonight is my wife's birthday. She is, I think she just turned 18. No, 21. Oh, wait, I'm going to have to check.
I was gonna say that sounds a little weird. David was going with a
She
little
might
bit
get
of a
you.
higher number.
My mom, every time her birthday comes around, and it's weird because, my mom, right? Somebody will say, how old are you? She'll, oh, 21. 21. That's her go-to number, right? So, my wife, she's just a couple more years older than that, but still just as beautiful. So shout out to everybody in the chat because I've seen a couple people saying happy birthday. We have David. We have David Corona, great guy. Corey Davis. I know everybody knows Corey. We have a
Hey, Corey.
Wolfgang sighting. Shout out to Wolf.
That's
This is my
awesome,
guy
man.
here. If you guys don't know Wolf, he does have a channel. He's on a little hiatus right now, but check him out. He's, a really good guy, family man. We got Jess. Shout out to Jess, East Coast Red and Gold. She's got a great show Wednesdays, and I think she's going to have an awesome guest on this week. I don't want to give away it, so please check the notifications and go check her channel out.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Slightly awesome, slightly.
Yeah,
no big deal or anything. Jess.
Yeah, definitely got to tune in. And I think the show this week is on Thursday, if I'm correct. So definitely check that out. We got Eric Wallace, I think one of our favorite Seahawk guys. Very, this guy's almost a true faithful. He's in here more than I think I am. And then, again, Damian Lee, CarCast, just a bunch of great guys. And, please take a moment. If you haven't noticed somebody here before, correspond, say hello, building a great community. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into this a little bit. Aaron, let's start it out. Get as personal as you want. No underwear size. We don't need that. But
you don't want to know that. It's pretty large. It's pretty large.
please. But as personal as you want. Please, where have you been? What have you been doing the last couple of months? And we'll get into this.
Kind of like Wolf, I took an leave of absence. He did for different reasons. I deal with a lot of mental health stuff and physical stuff. As you guys, a lot of I try to share. I'm pretty open about things, so I'll share with people. And there's a lot of moving parts going on in the background right now, and it just seemed like the right time, considering from like early June to late July, there's really no news going on, and the fact that like you and David and a lot of other content creators have kind of trudged along with not a lot of stuff to talk about and kind of like found stuff to talk about. It's been pretty good. So I'm like, I'm going to take some time away from mental health. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of doctor visits and there's some paperwork behind the scenes that some things in my life may be changing. So I needed that time away to kind of like focus on real life. I love the YouTube thing. But you gotta realize like the thing with YouTube is like I'm out there to be seen, and it's not always a good look if you're dealing with certain things you're not working, but yet you're on YouTube yucking it up and seems like you're fine. So it's a legitimate situation. I still will be on YouTube this coming season. I would say I'm back. I have you guys today, which I was looking forward to because I don't always like hosting. I like being the guy you could just kind of talk. So that's always cool. Like sometimes hosting is a little bit daunting and nerve wracking. So the fact that I was able to come on and my first show be on someone else's channel is kind of cool. So I appreciate that. But yeah, it's taking time away to take care of real life. Trying to find the passion to want to come back and do this because sometimes it goes away, especially when you have other things kind of pulling at your brain. Now we got training camp not too far away from now, and the feelings coming back, the urge to talk about the 49ers is back. And for all you guys that know what has been going on behind the scenes, like Bryant and David and other people, and some of the people I'll be streaming with this week, appreciate you guys kind of sticking in my corner and not abandoning me. Means a lot. And I'm excited, man. It's been a long off season for sure. It's weird how long this off season seems to have been going on. So, but let's go. Let's talk turkey, man.
Awesome. First off, if I didn't shout out John Jay, 49ers Ultimate Report, guys, please check him out. He's got another channel. He's trying to grow that one. Yeah.
John's been around a long time. He was I don't want to name too many names, but he was kind of in the I got to take care of my computer, guys. It keeps going to sleep on me. He was around pretty much a little bit after I started my channel. I would say 6 months, 8 months, maybe even sooner. There was like a little bit of an influx, but it was still not like, it wasn't the Larry Krueger types. Like what I've complained about all the big names. It wasn't that kind of influx. So yeah, I remember John way back when.
Yeah, I met him through Rombo Sports. If you guys haven't seen him, you guys check his channel out. He does a great show. He used to go like 7 days a week, and now he's dialed it down a little bit too. And everybody takes a little bit of a break and dials things back. But the important thing I've been told by many content creators is to keep putting something out there. It doesn't have to be like amazing, but you got to keep on trying to keep trying to do something, because people look forward to, interacting with you. And just like how I kind of mentioned it to you, like my daughter, you don't know my daughter except for what you've seen here, but she knows you. She knows what you sound like. She kind of
Nice.
thinks, you're funny, all this, so it's like, for you, you are a Ron in the house, you are that guy, so
That's awesome.
it's one of those things, like when Grant Cohn's channel comes on and the music starts to, my daughters start to dance. And I told him that one day, and he got a kick out of it. So again, like, mental health is very important. And everyone, I think, truly, even the strongest of us, we have issues. I think everybody does. And I think it's just the time of the, the new era, maybe in the 80s and the 70s, we weren't able to talk about it so much. And maybe more and more, people have gotten to a point where it's easier to talk about. But my point is like, people like your channel and Rombo's channels and stuff, that's helped me go through my days and stuff. There was a point in my life I couldn't sleep. There was a point in my life, I wasn't eating, and I reached out to Rombo, and he helped me through a good portion of that time. So, sometimes when you do find a community and you find friends, and again, you never met me physically, but I could tell you, I'm comfortable enough sitting down at a Denny's with you, or, somewhere and have dinner with you, because I've listened to you enough. I kind of get like a vibe. I think me and you could get along, that kind of thing. Same thing with David. And it will happen one day. Me and David's meeting up. And if the stars align, I'm going to, meet up with you too, Aaron. But with that, again, shout out to you and all the other content creators. If you started today or you started 10 years ago, thanks, because, a lot of people do. Like, I've had jobs where I drive across, states, and I drive across counties and different things. And, you want to listen to something, and it's not the same song you've heard a million times, or you want to hear some kind of information that you might not be thinking of at the moment, because you have an opinion, I have an opinion, David has an opinion, and it's all the same topic, but I have just a little different of a curve on it. And maybe that just gives you that little bit of, hey, I haven't thought of it like that. So again, thank you for coming. Thanks for, doing what you've been doing. And, again, when you got to take a break, but we appreciate it when you do come back. So before we get too much into it, I like to talk a lot, and I'm going to give it to David. David, do you have any questions for Aaron or anything you'd like to say?
Well, it's nice to have you back, buddy.
Appreciate it.
When it comes to questions, I mean, are you going to get like a weekly thing going on, or are you still thinking about that?
So we have this Wednesday, me and Ted are back. So Ted Talks Ball is officially returned. I was trying to get a hold of him, and I was like, is he mad at me? No, he was on vacation. He goes on really nice vacations to remote areas. So he wasn't on his phone. So that's back. Me and Raj, I think for the next couple weeks, are on hiatus still until I think he's going to camp. So me and Raj will be back doing a show. I do have Sterling Bennett on this Friday. I bothered him and Joe Shasky on Twitter. Shasky pretty much, and I knew Shasky was busy. If you watch his Instagram, he's got kids. He does baseball. He does radio. He's a dad. He's a husband. So he told me he couldn't, but I said maybe in the future. But thank you for responding. That's always the key, just a response. And then Sterling Bennett's like, we could do something this week or the week after and I was like, how about Friday, right before you leave for camp? And he's like, let's do it. I'm like, awesome. So I got you guys, which is awesome. Awesome way to start. Comfortable, easy, chill. Then me and Ted, and then me and Sterling. And then I am no longer part of the NWO show. It's unfortunately my absence created a situation for some of my co-hosts to move on to other things. I thought we were still going to have the show. Unfortunately, it's not going to be. They moved to Tuesdays. They are on with Mariah. I forget what the name of the show is. So Mondays right now, I'm a free agent on Mondays. So I'm in the process of reevaluating, trying to get another clique of people together and maybe try something new, something fresh. So everything's kind of up in the air. So right now I have 2 shows a week, and it could be 3. But right now it's just 2. And my computer keeps going to sleep on me, and I don't know how to stop it.
It's one of those things that StreamYard kind of did that. I don't know if there's a setting change that you can do, but it does it to me too. So you got to move your mouse every once in a while, or it'll go to sleep on you. But yeah, it's sometimes, doors close and new doors open. And sometimes, when you've been collaborating with somebody for such a long time, or over a good period of time. Sometimes the opinions become the same, and sometimes it is good to venture out. But I'm not going to say that door is closed just yet. I'd like to see you guys come back sometime. I said that a couple of months ago when you guys went on hiatus, and it's hard to get people to stick around and continue to do things, or wait on people. But sometimes, again, if good friends wait, and good friends stick around. So I'm holding up, and I believe you got a good set of guys right there that's gonna they have your back when you need them.
They make sense. Mondays are tough because people like to watch Monday Night Football. And I told you guys off stream, like I said, I got religious and even on screen, that religious obligations. So like, I don't know if maybe Sunday's post game is going to be something that I could try, and if people are willing to come on the channel. It's weird though, because you guys know everybody does a post game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'll get like two people watching. Like there's literally like 15, 20 shows going at the same time. So like, hey, let's see. Should I go to Grant's or should I go to Aaron's show? I think I'm gonna go to Grant's show because he's kind of like got 9 million people watching him. But that's the thing. If you go and maybe that's my attitude that I need to change. That just I should just do it because I'm having fun. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's I'm not even. I'm just it like hurts a little bit. You know what I mean? When something ends, it's kind of like a breakup. You know what I mean? It's like little kick in the gut. But like you're right. We'll definitely get something going soon.
We all get the reference, Bashar. But thank you very much for coming, and we always appreciate when you show up too. Bashar is a great guy. He's got a good channel, and
He does.
I'm a good friend of mine. Looking forward to getting one of those pizzas from him. He's only about maybe 2 hours from me, maybe hour and 40 minutes. So depends on how I drive. But no, it's one of those things. And again, Mondays are kind of hard. That's what I'm kind of thinking about here in the future. Is when we get closer to the season, Monday Night Football is going to be kind of hard. It might be hard for me and David to get a couple people in, because what we're trying to do is not have the same guests. We're trying to get around and then make a nice circle, and come back to certain people. And then on days when we can't get somebody, then we got to like scramble, and we might have to send out the bat signal and get Corey Davis or Damian Lee or somebody quick. My wife, she made a spot, appearance one time for us. We had a guest that fell out. So
I've seen that. Yeah.
It happens, and,
you're a lucky guy, man, to have your wife a 49ers fan and likes to do YouTube. That is not fair. That's like high priority on my list, and I've only seen one person, and it's her. So good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I started watching YouTube kind of with her, and I don't know if you know too much about it, but there's things called adult coloring books. Nothing nasty. If people in the chat are thinking that's, shame on you. But it's a fancy coloring book, and it's more detailed. It's for adults. It's something actually, it's like putting together a puzzle. And we went and spent a lot of money for some decent coloring pencils, not just the Crayola ones. And we used to sit there and we color, in our books and stuff, and sit there and talk. And we'd have Rombo in the background. We'd be listening, and we didn't do anything really with the chat or anything like that, because when you put something and then 10 people want to say you're dumb, or you don't get it, but you can only put so many words to get your point across. It's not worth arguing with these people, because you got a faster thumb than me, okay, but you're not getting what I'm saying. So when I learned how to call in, I started calling into Rombo a little bit more and doing stuff like that. But we like to sit there and listen to the 49er games. We like to watch the games together, and she is my best friend. She's totally my best friend, and I'm very lucky to have her.
That's awesome.
I was the one that kind of pushed her into the YouTube thing, saying, hey, you can do this. And if you get, some good girls, some nice ladies that know their stuff, you can hold this. You can hold it down because you're smart too. And she's got some great girls. If you haven't checked out the panel, I know you have, but everybody here, I think they've seen it too. But Tony's got some good girls, and not everybody can always make it. So it's like, hey, you have a seat. When you can come back, there's still a seat here, So that's why sometimes you won't see everybody, and then some episodes you'll see just a couple of them, and whatever. It's just something fun. But with Mondays, again, with football just changing and stuff like that, me and David, we're gonna probably have to figure out a different day. It might go Tuesday, it might go something like that as well. Because when I originally wanted to do Tuesdays, do YouTube, I wanted to come out with a show called Kicker Tuesday. You know, you always have like Monday morning quarterback talk. You got, Monday, you got couch quarterbacks and stuff like that. Everybody wants to talk about it on Monday. So I thought, well, if we kick it off on Tuesday, you got Taco Tuesday, and you can kick off the evening with a kicker show. I mean, just all play on words, but this just may be funny. But all right, Aaron, been gabbing a long time already. So let's talk a little 49ers. Get into it. Have you had an opportunity to look at the season yet?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've been doing a lot of shorts on TikTok and YouTube. Like you said, I kept my name in the algorithms for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just paying attention to the fact that the 49ers are going into another season, but yet questions at quarterback. So it's nothing has changed really. And I think I saw something on Twitter that I made a short about it, and I also said something about the tweet is that until the 49ers figure out the quarterback situation, they're always going to be that team with a really good roster that's close. And some people are like, well, it's good to have two. Yeah, true, but it's really good to have that one that puts you over the top. I said 90% of the teams that win the Super Bowl in the modern era have elite quarterbacks. You don't get the Nick Foles situation all the time. You don't get back in when Trent Dilfer. It doesn't happen. And yeah, the Niners have a really great roster in there, but like the guy tweeted, he's like, just for once, let's have the one guy that's going to get us a chance to go over the top and get that 6th trophy and stop. When's the window going to close? Is the window going to close? Is it already closing? It's like, listen, if you think Brock Purdy's the guy, then let's go all be behind Brock Purdy. If you think Trey Lance still hasn't gotten his fair shot and he's going to get it and he's going to rise to the top, then whatever. I'm here supporting whoever it is, but at the same time, I would rather have that one guy who we know we can't lose, like the Mahomes. Like the Chiefs without Mahomes don't win. The Bills without Allen don't win. The Cincinnati Bengals without Burrow don't win. And people are like, well, we have a good situation because we have 2 quarterbacks. But have we won yet? Like in the time that we won in the past with Montana and Young, it was one man who who captained the ship. And I think it still applies even now. It's more even now because if you look at teams the way they're constructed, the Niners are constructed the way that they are because they don't have a quarterback they got to pay a lot of money. So they're able to allocate a lot of resources all over the roster. When you become a really good team with a solid quarterback or an elite level quarterback, you're not always going to have the all world defense. You're not always going to have the all world, other players in other positions. That quarterback, like Aaron Rodgers, like other quarterbacks in the past, are able to elevate a team who might not have all the best players. The Niners have this great roster and it's so deep and it's really great, but quarterback is always their problem. So to me, it's another season of I think we have a chance to compete and get really far, but I'm still in the back of my head thinking I feel like quarterback's going to end up being our Achilles heel again. And I don't want to admit it, but that's just how I feel. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one of these guys comes out and elevates and they become the guy going forward and we're never going to look back after and we get another couple of Super Bowls in our pocket and we have 7 or 8 or whatever. But it's the same old man with the 49ers, the way I look at it right now.
Well, I like that, and I don't like that. And it's kind of hard to say that this was the right turn or the wrong turn, but there's been several decisions that's been made over the quarterback, especially, trying to go for that Super Bowl. And if you look back at Joe Montana's career, why did we go get Steve Young? Because he kept getting hurt. We go and get Steve Young. Steve Young pushes Joe. Joe gets a couple more rings. We say, oh, should we go? Should we leave? Are we going to get in? Are we getting out? We let Joe walk, right? Then we win another Super Bowl with Steve. Steve gets hurt. Okay. From there, we were going to get what? Giovanni.
Oh,
Jim Drunkenmiller. Remember Jim Drunkenmiller?
Yeah. Oh my God, he was so bad.
Ty Detmer, but you guys know what I'm saying. We passed on him. We went for Giovanni instead of Tom Brady, which I didn't know who Tom Brady was, but with the whole organization and as much as supposedly his dad was involved in the Bay Area and stuff, you would have thought the Niners would have had like something. Maybe they would have just, I mean, they gave Jerry Rice's son a tryout. I mean, you would think that they would do, you know, I don't know. When you're a season ticket holder and you've done this for the team for so long, you know, sure, there shouldn't be like preferences and, you know, like liberties, but there it goes without saying. I help keep the lights on in that building, right? You know, for me, I'm a dedicated fan, but I don't go to games. I can't afford to go to games. I live too far to go to games every time. By the time I go there, it's not just drive over there, it's drive back, it's traffic, it's tomorrow I got to get up and go to work, you know, and I like to drink beer. So when I get there, I don't want to spend the same amount of money for one beer that I can buy a 6-pack for, you know, or a 12-pack for, and
100%
there
agree.
and it just, to me, it's not fun, you know. And then I like to entertain. I like people to be able to come over and sit in the backyard or, you know, in the living room. I like to go cook, you know. So it's like got a big garage, you know. I like to entertain. So for me, it's not feasible like that. But you look at it and it's like, okay, the Niners' problems always seems to be quarterback. We have a good quarterback for a while and then we lose it. Jeff Garcia wasn't the guy that he was decent, Pro Bowler, you know, did stuff, but the attitude with him and T.O., that league, that team just gone, right? Then we go in and draft Alex Smith because he opened the door for his mom. I'm a mama's boy. I'll be the first one to say it. I'll open the door for my mom too, you know, and shout out to him and stuff like that. But the argument to me, and it's always been, is like, where did Aaron Rodgers get out of the car at? How far along was his dad? Because when I'm in the car with my dad's like, I'm opening the door for your mom. That's my mom. If I'm not there, then you better get the door for your mama. That's my wife, your mama, right? You know, so make sure they get that clear. But that's the thoughts. It's like, so did Aaron get out on the other side of the car and wasn't able to get to the door? Did he get out, shut the door on his mom? I mean, like, I just don't get that. And then you can't guarantee if Aaron Rodgers would have been on our team, we had a horrible team. So you can't guarantee that he would have got those 4 years to sit behind like Brett Favre, you know, and develop. So now it's like, okay, we turn over Alex Smith, you know, because he got injured, right? Nobody likes to lose an injury, but here comes Kaepernick. Kaepernick can throw the ball really hard and run really fast. And, you know, he helped us, but he didn't have that, like what Alex Smith had. And I'm not going to say it's for, no one's for certain, but does anybody really think that Alex Smith throws an interception in the Super Bowl to Randy Moss, you know, or Randy Moss pulls his hand down? I don't think that happens. I think, you know, maybe we got blown out more, whatever, but Alex Smith could ball, but he was a very conservative game manager. So where Kaepernick was like, I'm just going to sling the ball over and hope some, you know, old wide receiver jumps a little higher than I'm throwing the ball to. Randy didn't want to get hurt. Randy didn't want to get hurt. Randy didn't want to get hurt. And I say it like that because
Randy was in business for himself on that play.
Oh, sure he was. He sure was. He knew he was going to get lit up. He might not play the rest of the game, you know. So we lost the Super Bowl. And then, you know, sure, we had the ordeal with special teams the year before, and we finally get up there to like the Jimmy experience, whatever you want to call it. And the team's been like building, right? And building. We've had multiple opportunities to go after Tom Brady, and we don't go after Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. And that's all we really need right now, right? But we have this coach, and I know Damian Lee said he doesn't want to hear, you know, the Kirk Cousins talk, but I got a bad feeling, guys. I got a bad feeling. Even if we win the Super Bowl, I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but I think Kirk Cousins is coming here next year, and I got a feeling. I think he takes a team deal. I think he comes this way. I think one thing that we don't like about Kirk Cousins, he doesn't seem to get hurt. He's always playing the whole season, and it seems like our quarterbacks always seem to get hurt. I don't want Kirk Cousins. If you guys unsubscribe, I understand, but that's just my fear. You know, like it's keeping me awake at night.
I am not a Kirk Cousins guy either.
I wouldn't like that.
He's
right?
He's just another pretty boy quarterback.
But you guys see what I'm saying? It's like since 2016, he had this secret deal with Kirk Cousins. Like, we're going to get you over here sooner or later. And Washington was like, nope, we're not trading you to them. So we get Trent Williams somehow because we don't ever trade with Washington, right? And then he goes to Minnesota. And now this year he's saying, I don't want to go back. That's not good for us. And, you know, like for Kyle to come out nowadays and say, oh, the reason I didn't want to get Tom Brady is because he made some kind of remark about the 28-3 lead. So he blew the lead and he rubbed it in his face. And now Kyle doesn't want to have we could have had like 3 Super Bowls since then. I mean, it's just one of those things. So it's like, are you sold on one player or do you want to win a Super Bowl? Or like, I've said it a couple times, Aaron. Do you want to win a Super Bowl right now and be like, a bottom feeder for 4 years, or do you just want to be in contention every year? Because getting to the end of the race and not finishing it, I don't want to be the Rams, but I want to win a Super Bowl. It's been like 29 years.
It has. I was a freshman in high school when we won. You can do both. You can do both. You can compete and go for it. You just have to. It's all about how you go with the finances of things. You know what I mean? It's there's a way to. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers for a really long time. I forgot who that front office guy was there for a really long time. They always had a competitive team. For the most part, over 20 some odd years, or since even the Cowher era, they were always a team that was either in contention, a good enough team to make the playoffs. I mean, they were always up there. If you had to ask me, would I rather have us go for it and get it and have one and then be really bad after? That's tough, man, because we were bad for a really, really long time for the majority of the last 20 some odd years. Do I want to go back to going into a season knowing I have no hope? No. But if somebody's like guaranteeing you this 6 Lombardi, I might take that bet because, I mean, it's been so long, you know what I mean? I want to taste victory. I want to be able to say, throw up, like Jordan did after they won against the Jazz for the second time, but it's
Ouch.
good thing we don't have to make that kind of decision and worry about that sort of thing. But I don't know, man. It's been a long time, and I feel like this team is always circling the drain with the same issues all the time, no matter what decade it is. I do think Shanahan is the best coach we've had in a really long time. I will say that. Do I think his ego gets in the way of things? Absolutely. Have I gotten into my feelings about him and wanted to freaking go through the TV and strangle his ass? Absolutely. So it's my brother even said it because he's a Miami Dolphins fan. Everybody knows I talk about my brother all the time, so you can stick it. He's like, you guys got to do it now. He's like, that window. I'm like, I know. I was like, same with your team. If you think about it, it's kind of the same situation. So
I know it's an ugly, it's an ugly conversation. It's one of those like topics you don't want to have to face.
What's up,
Lawrence? But if you look at the Rams, they went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots in 13, not 13, but 16 or something like that. They went to and they lost when they moved back to LA. It was like that 3-10 Super Bowl or something like that. And then they make it back to the Super Bowl before us. They've been to the Super Bowl 4 times since we've been to the Super Bowl. Or we went to twice and we lost, but they
Three times.
Yeah. So it's like, why? And then the Cardinals have made it to the Super Bowl. Sure, they haven't won. The Seahawks have made it to the Super Bowl 3 times since, and we can't get it done. So I'm ready. I'm like, I'm all in, and it's like one of those funny questions, because we try to come up with, I try to come up with things. I asked David too, and on my morning shows and stuff, it's like, what are we going to talk about? So the other day, I was like, what would you do for a Super Bowl? So I'd walk to work. I even joked with my wife, I'd stop watching football next season. I'm not going to do it, but it was a joke. Okay. But if we won the Super Bowl this year, I'd really sit down and be like, wow, that's the one thing on my bucket list that's now off. I've seen a Super Bowl, but I was so young. It's does it count? You close your eyes, it's I remember what it smelled like. I remember what it felt like, but it's not here anymore. It's gone. Right. So it's I understand when people say, oh, you got Lombardis, but they're all dusty. Yeah, there's a lot of dust on them. And we're going to put another one in there, and it's just going to make them all shiny again, and you can't take championships away. But
they still count, but they count less when it's been, 3 decades. But yeah, you're right. You stick another new one into there, and then all of a sudden, those things are shining. It's, to me, I'll say this to people who make comments, especially, listen, I live in Bills country. Bills fans like to talk. And I'm just I've got on Facebook before me, I was like, you guys lost 4 straight, 4 in a row. You literally had 4 straight opportunities and choked every single time. You could say whatever you want. Don't ever, ever take a shot at the 49ers not winning in the last 30 years when you've never won. So yeah, Bills fans sometimes get a little salty, and then I have to rearrange it for them and smack them around a little bit and put them back in their place. So yeah.
This is what I want. See, we win 6. I won't cuss no one out on Twitter for a year. Thank you, Callie. I mean, that's the kind of thing. It's like let's be positive. Let's push this. The team's gonna get behind it. They're gonna be like, "Who's got better than us?" Well, maybe they won't say that, but I do like it. I like
I
it when they
hated
go.
that so bad. It's like,
I
who's
like
got it better than us? Everybody at that point because our team sucked.
I uh, I do like that mentality. Like we go into the games and it's the world against us. Because when we go in there and we feel like we're the dogs, we haven't won anything. I mean, like sure we've been to the NFC Championship a couple years in a row, but we haven't won anything.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
where's the anger? I want to see some anger. Stop being
yeah,
so happy. Like I would, man. Listen, my nephew's he's a Gen Zer. He's a these young cats. They want to argue everything on Google it and argue with you. The one thing my nephew agrees with me is that whole like trading jerseys at the midfield after the game and being cool with everybody. My nephew hates that, and I'm like, so do I. I'm like, I just went to battle with you, and then all of a sudden, no, you're the enemy. We'll trade after my career. I'll collect a bunch of my jerseys. I'll wash them and stash them in my house, and then eventually I'll start giving them off to people that want to collect them. I
or
hate.
maybe right. You want to do that fun stuff, right? Let's put a spot in the stadium. Maybe they can
Yeah,
do
like in the
it.
tunnel or something. It makes me
Yeah,
so mad, especially when it's a game that's really huge and you lose at the end, and then you see people giggling at midfield. Dude, I'm people can call me sour about stuff and like I'm an old school kind of like pissed off. Like when I was young, dude, I'm of the mindset that the opponent is the enemy. It's like war. I don't want to make light of people that are in the military. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying football, a lot of people always compare it to the military, the war. You know what I mean? Like enemy, we strategize to beat the enemy, blah, blah, blah. Enemy deserves no mercy, like Cobra Kai. And that's how I feel too, especially in athletics, because you're both going for the same thing, but only one can get it. So like I just hate the whole kumbaya aspect of it. I love Kittle and I love how happy he is, but man, dude, be mad after a game and curse and throw stuff and be like, I'm so pissed off, I can't take it. I don't know, man. That's the modern athlete for you, though, Bryant. That's just how it is.
no, I agree. Like I don't mind seeing them pray at the end of the game or something like that. That's cool. Shake hands. That's cool. But you taking off your jersey on the sidelines, giving it to another guy. I mean, like you're giving another guy your shirt, and I mean, like you could have given it to that little kid up there in the stadium that he probably is only going to get to this one football game, and his dad probably worked like 2 years to get to that. Like my dad, he bought tickets for us to go see the Raider game, the preseason game, and I know it was a hurt. My mom and dad weren't the most wealthiest people, and they were able to put
You
food on
never
the table.
mind, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but when my parents made a sacrifice for that, and took us to a
yeah.
game, I seen people getting their jerseys and stuff ripped off and thrown over the stadiums, and I just thought, oh my God, how would somebody go and feel, or how could you go and spend $250 on a leather jacket and get thrown over the stadium because you're not the same fan as the other team? So like for me, like it really makes me upset and sick, and like I don't know, like it's a game, and you got to remember it's a game, and maybe it's the dad in me, but maybe I was always meant to be a dad. I don't know, but like I can't get behind those kids at the baseball stadium, and their parents are going all crazy at the dugout and stuff like that. You're there to support your kids. So we're there to support our team. Your team doesn't perform or do something right, yeah, you can yell, but to physically come to blows with another person, I'm sorry, I'm just one of those people that I'm a fighter, yeah, if I have to, but I'm a lover, not a fighter. I want to work things out. I want to talk it out, and if you have to physically come to blows with somebody, that means you've mentally lost it up here. And that other person now has the upper hand because they're still thinking with their brain, right? So I don't know. It's just, I've never had to experience that. And I hope, no one here has to experience that. But yeah, I did. I seen Niners and Raiders jerseys, jackets, memorabilia going over the top of the Oakland Coliseum. And
That is insane.
that's crazy.
I'd be fighting everybody. Uh, the point I was making was I didn't say that football is military and it's war. That's not the point I was making. I want to reiterate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Football, in its rawest sense, they always draw up similarities because of strategy, because it's physical. The team across from you is supposed to be the enemy. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody who's been in the military because I have a lot of friends that were in the military and they can understand the point I'm trying to make without me taking a shot at the military. That's not the point.
Yeah.
To me, in competitive sports, I'm sorry, but you're the enemy. And yeah, you can do stuff after the game and be all kumbaya about it, but like, I don't know, man. It's just they're soft. It's just a soft. Everything's soft now. Everything is so. Uh, there's so everything is like it's like what's the what like not toilet paper, like Kleenex, like Charmin soft. Like just the whole league is
Yep.
soft. The whole way these players act after games is soft. I miss having Tom Coughlin as a coach, ripping into players, man. I miss Bill Belichick or excuse me, Bill Parcells rip. It's right now. It's just a good old boys club where a bunch of guys make a lot of money, and most teams and the guys are okay with losing every single year, and they get paid. I look at what's his name saying he's like, oh, I want to go to a team with a good quarterback, a good organization, Hopkins, and where did he go?
He went from NFL poverty Cardinals, well Red Chickens I call them, to the mid Tennessee Titans. So it's kind of
yeah. So people, it's all about the money. When people say it isn't about the money, guys, it's all about the money. Once that comes out of your mouth, it's exactly about the thing that you're trying to say it's not about. So no, I miss I remember the Cowboys games against the Niners. There used to be fights before the game. That's what I want to see. I'm not saying legitimately get into a fight, but like, where is that, man? I like that the Eagles and the Niners are going back at each other and that the fan bases hate each other. It's freaking awesome, dude. That's how it should be.
Yeah, it should definitely be a rivalry.
As long
You
as it
should
doesn't
have
get
that.
disrespectful and weird,
But when you start throwing beer cans at women's heads and stuff like that, shout out to
Right.
Dina Harvey. That should never happen to anyone. She was at a Philly game and got hit. So that's not cool. But that's about being a mature fan too. And understanding like just because that's a lady, you don't go fight a lady. And men, that's not right. But all right, let's turn it just a little bit. We're talking a little bit about the schedule. Do you got an overall early season prediction for us?
It's funny. I just saw Adam Rank's schedule prediction that came out in early June on NFL Network. I never saw it. He has the Niners at 13-4. That's pretty much where I got him. He has us losing the first two games of the season, which I don't think is going to happen. And then he has us losing.
Rams?
Yeah, he's got us losing against the Rams, the Steelers, Seattle once, and Cincinnati. I think we do lose to Seattle once, for sure. People are like, no way, they suck, but they got a pretty good roster, and they still, as much as I can't stand their coach, and I wish an errant football would hit him upside his head. It's I want to see them be, they're going to be good enough to compete, maybe take a game from us. I can see Cincinnati beating us too. I agreed with him on that one, but I'm thinking of I don't know what other games it would be that we would drop, but to say that I just don't see us losing to the freaking Giants and to the Steelers. The Steelers I could see kind of, but I just have a feeling this 49er team is going to come out with a little bit of reckless abandon this first week. I feel like it's going to almost be like that Tampa game where we're going to be kind of struggling on offense, and then the defense is going to do something to turn it, and then we get those 2 pick sixes. So the Niners have a favorable schedule to have a really good season. My only question is, how do they hold up with their health? And if they have, they have to do everything they can to get that first round. I think that bye means everything to them. The Niners with the bye, I think they go back to the Super Bowl, regardless of who they play in the conference in the NFC Championship game. On the road, I can see us struggling. So, yeah, it's we still don't have to worry about it, guys. We still got a couple months, so I'm not even going to relax. I'm not even going to get too stressed because football stresses me out to no end. But like I've told you before and other people, having the ability to come on YouTube has definitely helped my anger. I used to get really angry watching games and break stuff and scream and curse and just do all sorts of silly, stupid things. And now because of the YouTube thing, it's like I'm just like, after we lose, I'm mad. Don't get me wrong, but I'm able to kind of like, oh, I'm going to go talk about it in like an hour or tomorrow or 3 times this week. So by the time I get to the end of the week, I'm like, oh, I'm good. You know what I mean? So like after the NFC Championship game, that game was over in the second quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were so mad after the game. I had already accepted the fact that our season was over in the second quarter. So people were like, man, you're really calm after that. I'm like, dude, the game was over for 2.5 hours. So what was there to be pissed off about? So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, David, I think he's in the same mindset as you. I'm a little bit more favorable. And the two games, I don't want us to lose any games, but the two games I think we're going to lose is the Steelers and the Ravens. I think we lose opening week 1, and I think we're going to lose on Christmas. But I hope not. I really hope not. But I like that idea too. Like you said, if we get the bye, I think we can go all the way. I'm not always a fan of us taking a break off during playoffs because I like that energy, but it seems like it's helped us, in the past. And I think we can do it, so we'll see. David,
I picked this to lose on Turkey Day. The Steelers, the more I look at that, it's kind of a 50-50 game because Tom.
It is. No, I
agree. Their coach is so good, but their quarterback is such a question mark, so that's where I think it's kind of a 50-50. The Ravens always seem to have our number for some reason, but I look at that like if Lamar Jackson isn't playing, what are their chances? And he typically runs, he takes hits, and he might be hurt by then, he might not. There's a whole bunch of things. The season's going to be a roller coaster. But I think you were so right about us getting the 1 seed is so important. It is so important. It's not funny. The first round bye, make everyone come to us.
Right. The way we play football as a team, offensively and defensively, the Niners are super hard hitting. What happens to this team all the time because of how we play? We hurt the opponent, but most of the times we hurt ourselves too. And there's always a lot of guys dinged up, this strain, that strain, contusions, this problem, because, Debo, remember last year he's running and he gets twisted up. We thought he tore his knee and was out for the rest of the year. Turns out it was just a knee sprain, but just that sort of like congested football that they play. That's all like everybody's tripping and getting stuck on each other and guys are getting twisted underneath each other. The Niners don't have that like wide open offense where guys are running open 20, 30, 40 yards with nobody around them. All their stuff, because of the quarterbacks, unfortunately, they have, other than Lance, because Lance can actually sling it, they played this like really congested football. And I think that's one of the reasons they get hurt, at least on offense. Defensively, I just think the Niners are physical and it takes a toll. So, yeah, having that 1 seed, dude, man, I'm not saying that we can't run the table, but you're asking that Niners team in the NFC Championship game, Bosa looked gassed, dude. He looked gassed. And then he got his leg stepped on, and I was just like, you know what? Time to pack it up. See you next year. Like, it was done, dude. It was like, if you don't have a quarterback, like, what's the sense? There's people like, I like Eagles fans are like, just take the L and accept it. I'm like, no, I took the L, but to say like that didn't have any sort of bearing on the game, I don't know what you're smoking. You really? So we would have lost 31. Maybe we do, right? But there's a chance that game is close going into the fourth quarter. And if that game's close going into the fourth quarter, who's winning? We are. You know why? Because we're battle tested. That's the type of team the Niners are.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And man, that's really hard. It's like we had no quarterback there for a minute. We did have Josh Johnson, but he still managed to get it was what, 7-7, 14-7, and then he fumbled.
He's still butt cheese though, man.
But we still were in it. We were in it. Yeah. Until he went down and had the concussion, which I don't know if it was really a concussion or I'm not going to question his integrity, but just was like, he really didn't seem to want to be in the game. And then, I don't know. It's just one of those things. So for them to bring in like Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen's the backup to Joe Burrow. Why would he leave? What's so great, going on in Cincinnati, like, why are you changing your stripes? Why? Because he was told he might have an opportunity to start here, or, there's somebody said something, they whispered something in his ear, and same thing with Sam Darnold. And I know a lot of people say he sees ghosts. I make that joke too, but I want everybody to understand, before we traded for Trey Lance, before we traded for the Capitol, we offered the Jets a first-round pick for Sam Darnold. So somebody in the organization likes this guy. Somebody likes him and thinks that, hey, they don't care what the last season he did or the season before that. They think He's got enough skills. So whatever, if he can make it work, hey, I just want a Super Bowl. I just want a Super Bowl, So
I really don't care how it happens. I just want it to happen.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's a 3-0 game and we win with a field goal to end it. Don't
Boom.
care. As long as that says on the banner on the TV says San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl champions and 6-time Super Bowl winning team or whatever the graphic as they roll it across. Oh my God, dude, I'd pee in my pajamas, not literally, but like I would be so happy. I'd probably go and buy, the shirt and the hat like a nerd, like I usually did when I was a kid for the Bulls. Every time the Bulls would win a championship, I'd have the T-shirt and stuff. So,
all right. So you and your brother are Dolphin and Niner fans. You're Niner. And were you guys able to watch that Super Bowl?
Which one? The back in the mid
84?
Yeah. No, I mean I was only 4 years old, and my brother was born in '86. So
okay.
My brother hasn't.
Have you guys had that moment to be able to watch that commercial, the Marino Montana commercial?
He's seen it. My brother's not moved by the '80s. It's like the '80s to him are just like foreign to him. He's a '90s kid, so anytime I show him anything from the '80s or moon music or whatever, he's just like, I'm like, bro, they're like two of the greatest of all time. It's the GOAT, and the guy who was pretty really, 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 really. Dan Marino to me was what the modern quarterbacks are now, as far as like their ability to throw it and get a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns. He was Peyton and Brady and all those guys, but back in the '80s, just throw it. No run game, no threat of a run game. Both receivers are over 100, 1,000 yards. Both have 10 touchdowns at least. It's just he was out. He did. The problem with him was that he played really bad in really good important games. He was a choke. He was kind of a choke artist. Where Montana didn't have all the stats during the regular season, but Montana in the playoffs was like good as he was money, and his statistics show it. So, we're of the mindset of we don't want to eat. He's like, dude, what if we meet up this year? I'm like, I don't want to think about that. That'd be the most miserable Super Bowl ever. Because I don't want my team to lose to his, and he doesn't want. He's like, dude, I would be so miserable watching that game. He goes, especially if we won. He goes, you'd be so heartbroken. He goes, and then if your team won, I would be. He goes, we haven't won in my lifetime. He's like, at least you got one. So that's where it kind of is right now with that.
Yeah, I bring the commercial up because it's like the jersey swapping thing and stuff like that. And if you see the way their attitude was in the commercial, Marino wasn't happy that he lost that, and I think they I don't know if they filmed it before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl, but I imagine it's afterwards, or maybe they did both shots. But Marino wasn't super friendly there, and I don't know, like shout out to Joe Montana for being, a class act, but it would have definitely been, interesting to see the other take of that commercial if it would have been opposite. But yeah, Marino was that guy. He was
really good.
But
I see who's on your shelf though behind you, so I know you're a Montana guy like me.
Yeah, Montana's the guy. He's the number one. But something fun for me to let everybody know is not fun. It's never fun when you say, "Oh, I got ran over by a truck," but I got hit by a truck and I got busted back my skull open and really hurt me really bad. And I went to the hospital. I was homeschooled for a year, and hey, I walk sometimes. I walk a little funny, but no. This is one of those things. But I woke up one day in the hospital, and my parents were standing there, and I could kind of see that maybe I didn't realize it at the moment. Now I kind of realize it. I think everybody was crying before I woke up. And everybody's like standing there happy to see me. And a couple minutes go by, and they hand me like some presents, and I was like, "What's this for?" Like I didn't die, like I'm still, and they're like, "Oh, we're just glad you're here, and you're feeling good, and we wanted to get you something to make you feel good." I pull out a brand new Steve Young jersey, and it's from like 1998, and oh man, like he's my favorite player all time, Steve Young. And my dad looked at me and said, "Man, you should have seen the truck. You took a hit like Steve Young could have taken, and you took a hit better than Steve Young took." And I was just like, wow, So he's like, "Yeah, you should see the truck." And I was like, "I don't want to see the truck. I don't want to see the truck."
So were you always a Steve Young guy, or you became a Steve Young guy after that situation?
So, well, for me, because like I got to see the 94, 95 Super Bowl, and that was like my first game. And then, the first game that I got to really sit down with the guys was the 97 game, the playoff game against Brett Favre. I think it was a 98 playoff game, and we beat him. And I was at my dad's friend's house, and he was a Packer fan. So for me, like the worst Super Bowl, I guess I'd like to see it, but it would be like same thing like what you and your brother got going on. Is if I had to see a Raider 49ers Super Bowl, we got close, but I really don't want to see that. I got 3 brothers; they're all Raider fans. My dad's a Raider fan, so it's like I'd love to beat them, but it's kind of be like one of those things. The same situation, it's like you don't want to do that. Like I always listen to see how the Raiders did. I'm not rooting for them, but I'm not rooting against them either. But I imagine you do the same thing with the Dolphins, and I think I don't want to get David in trouble, but David, isn't your daughter a Cowboy fan?
Yes.
So I imagine you do something like that too. You're always keeping your eye out on the score.
She's not one of those delusional, hyped up Cowboys fans though.
Who think they're going to win it every year? Yeah.
No, she's not. She's like, we're not winning the Super Bowl with Dak at quarterback. There's no way. Like the last 2 years we faced him in the playoffs, she's like, we ain't winning. There's no, we're not winning this game. She straight up told me that. Her mom told me that too. Her mom is a Cowboys fan. That's where she got it from. So,
well, Aaron, man, again, I don't like taking up all the time talking and stuff, but I do like talking to you. I do appreciate you coming on. I'd love to do this again with you, David, as
Absolutely.
well. Maybe we'll do it some other way. But before we go, we got like 5 minutes. I'd like to give David a question here too.
I do have to say, my daughter's husband is a 49ers fan.
Good man.
She has good taste, at least.
Yeah, she has very good taste. That right there is a good reason to have him as your son-in-law.
I mean, look, yeah. Well, when it comes to our quarterback situation, look, last year was the ending was horrible. We had Josh Johnson in there. I've said he looked like a deer caught in the headlights. He looked like it was his first NFL game. He looked awfully scared. So do you think that's why we brought in Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen? Was to have guys with starting, because Brandon Allen does have some starting experience. He started for the Denver Broncos earlier in his career. So, did we bring him in just because of that? Or I mean, Brandon Allen, he doesn't have a chance at starting. I don't think Sam Darnold does either.
No, you're right. No, I think that's exactly the reason they brought him in. They don't want to be caught with their quote unquote, trousers down again in the big game. So, whatever you got to do to make it happen is what you do. That is a situation. People say it's a 1 in a million. I don't know. With the 49ers, it seems like it's an every year situation. With the way they go through quarterbacks like, somebody eating hot wings goes through napkins. Like it's just one after the other. So, yeah, I think they're both here just to be as an insurance policy. But listen, if our season comes down to Sam Darnold as our quarterback and we're expected to win it all, I don't like our chances. He's there, but you never want to actually see him play. Not saying that he can't do well, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's a good sample size out there, and it's not that great. So stranger things have happened. Not saying it's not possible, but I mean, I want to live in the what's possible world and not with the fantasy land where like, well, maybe he gets, and maybe this happens, and maybe it all goes right. Could I just have like the guy that we went into the regular season with be the guy at the end of the regular season and just be enough of all that other stuff? That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why they are looking at somebody again. We don't want it to happen, so I'm not trying to talk into tuition, but or existence.
But like speak it into
existence.
Kirk
Cousins, right? Man, like he doesn't seem to get hurt, and that's might be what we need is somebody to come in that is a veteran that might choose to take a friendly deal that could put us over the top. A guy with a big arm and knows how to hand the ball off, and we just need him to, again, I'm not asking for Kirk Cousins, but like you look at Sam Darnold, he has worked with CMC in the past. He has, experience, multiple games starting. He is a bigger quarterback. He does have a big arm. So they like him. So I would not be afraid if Sam Darnold's, somewhere in the rotation, but like you guys both said, it seems like every year you go back to the beginning of this 2017 regime. We had Brian Hoyer, C.J. Beathard, Jimmy Garoppolo. Then the next
Nick
year,
Mullins.
Nick Mullins was he? Yeah, 2017 as well. Then the following year it's Jimmy, Nick Mullins, C.J. and it's just like one thing after another. It's like, the one season, 2019, Jimmy stayed healthy. We go all the way to the Super Bowl. So is that, that's the writing on the wall. Keep the quarterback healthy and we can go to the Super Bowl. Now, winning it all, that depends on, I guess, our play calling and if our quarterback's not closing his eyes, and all that.
And we're not facing the Kansas City Chiefs.
Thank you. Everybody wants to play the Chiefs again, Aaron.
Why?
I don't want to play the Chiefs.
We don't match up well with them.
I'm not afraid of them, but I want to play somebody else. I don't want to play the Bengals. I don't want to play the Chiefs.
I want to play the Bengals. I wouldn't mind the Bengals. Chris Collinsworth. Here's your emotional damage
like
all
me.
over
He
again.
wants the freaking easiest path to a championship as possible.
Well, I guess that would be the Bengals, but I don't know. Like, I'd like to see the Bills or even us play the Ravens again.
Oh, I would love for us to ruin the Bills' day again. 0-5 versus 6-2. Oh, that'd be beautiful.
It's just one of those things. But again, I can't say thank you any more than I've already done. I could, but it's just going to get really weird. Appreciate you coming on, David and me. Really do want to do this with you again. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on and being like kind of my first step back into the pool. You know what I mean? The deep end of the pool again, because it's been a while, and it's good to get your feet wet.
We can get a little bit more serious, but we like having a friendly show, and we like to just kind of cut it up a little bit. Like what's your, normal game day routine, before the game starts, those kind of questions to get you a little bit more into the chat more into, like understanding who you are as a person, and me and David too. Cause again, me and David are just guys that are out of the chat, just trying to do something fun as well. And, we have opinions and, we want to hear yours as well. And that's why, again, thanks for coming and doing what you're doing. And guys, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next Monday, I think. Me and David will have another great guest on. And keep your eyes out for Aaron. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and say goodnight. It's my wife's birthday. That's why we're ending a little early. So thank you to everyone for the birthday wishes. And again, go Niners.
Go Niners.
Shout out to Tony. Happy birthday. Happy 26. Go Niners and F the Lambs.